I'm already told.
Sorry to interrupt you there. I did want to.
No worries at all. I just click.
And I can shoot this over to you afterwards if you want me to.
That would be perfect. Okay, so managing cold outreach services by Growbots. Mike, just to introduce myself because I forgot to do it at the very beginning. I'm running, of course, partnership at Growbots, but also sales development. And I've been doing outbound for over 4 years right now, mainly cold emailing. And I'm a little bit of outbound freak, so that's why I believe it's worth sharing this strategy. What we want to share with agencies today and with you, Mike, is basically how to set up and how to run cold outreach services on scale. So not only how to do it for one customer and invest a lot of time in it, but also how to do it effectively and how to do it for multiple other customers. And we have some experience with partners who actually do it. We have partners who serve 25 customers on our platform. We have partners who help like a few of their customers using Growbots and using the methodologies that we will share in a minute. But at the very beginning, what I wanted to actually share was why outbound is so great. So, I couldn't resist, and I had to put one slide like this because, in my opinion, outbound is a little bit different for other marketing strategies, and because of those 3 reasons. So first of all, you can actually reach prospects before they start actively looking, and you can reach them directly in their inbox. So I think a place where if you succeed, you get their full attention. It's always simply better to get in touch with people who might need your solution than wait for them to start looking on the market and finding your competitors, etc. Second of all, you decide exactly who would you like to connect. So you don't just send a bulk 10,000 of emails and hope that someone replies. You define your ICP, you define your persona, you craft the sequencing and messaging to them, and that's why you are able to engage with them. And once you do it, once you actually send, let's say, 500, 1,000 emails, you're actually able to predict what will happen later on. So after some time, your process becomes fully predictable. And that's nice also from the agency perspective, because after some time, you're actually able to predict how many leads you will be able to deliver for a customer using this particular method. So this is why outbound is so great in general. But from the agency perspective, well, it works for almost every B2B company. So your, let's say, market is pretty huge. It takes a few hours to set it up. And once you get more, fluent with our tech and with outbound in general, like it takes you 2 hours. This is how much it takes for our best partners. And you need like 1 hour per week to run the campaigns, and maybe even less if depending on the volume that your customer requires. So it's not that big of a deal in terms of time, especially if you have someone dedicated to it, or if you simply want to add it to 1 or 2 customers. And as mentioned on the previous slide, you get a predictable source of leads. And also to share some insights from the market. So usually the buyer of such services is an owner of an SMB who doesn't really have like a sales team, and they just want to get some additional leads without time investment, and they don't have skills. So they reach out to the agency. And then there are like 2 major use cases. So first one is in which the agency sets up the whole system for them. So the agency checks the deliverability and deals with the technical stuff, which is pretty systematic, meaning it would look the same for every single customer. You connect the email inboxes to the software you choose, and you create a sequence, which is basically the most creative and the most difficult part. And for those, like usually agencies don't charge that much, but when it comes to the ongoing services, which is what we recommend, because as mentioned, like SMBs owners won't be able to do it on their own on long term. So when it comes to ongoing services, like there are 2 differences. So of course you have to not only create the campaign, but also optimize the campaign along the time. But it also gives you the opportunity to test new markets, because you can simply change the industry or change the department and see how the market reacts to that. And well, you choose the prospects on your own. You have the full control over the campaign, and then the retainer is much higher. Of course, it varies from agency to agency, but also plenty of consultants also charge a success fee depending on the warm lead generated. So at the very beginning, of course, you take the risk, a little bit of risk on your own, that if you will be able to develop a campaign which will be successful. But if you are, then the stake gets higher, and you can simply earn much more. But of course, there are also agencies which only rely on retainer, and they are also pretty successful. And now, in terms of what you actually need to be able to manage like an ongoing cold outreach service, like you probably need, first of all, like some kind of automation that we can provide you with, because Growbots is an all-in-one platform. And what I want to actually say here is that our platform was built to help agency, because Growbots used to be an agency. Like, it was started as an outbound agency by our founders, so they still know how it was to actually, send emails, hunt for meetings, hunt for warm leads. And what our platform does is basically we help you find the right targets, pick particular people that you want to reach out to, and reach them with automated emails. But in terms of creating like a proper outbound campaign, you need three things. You need to define the right target audience, start the segmenting. You need to be able to create a like engaging, compelling campaign, and find out how to automate the process. And I'm pretty sure that when it comes to B2B marketing agencies, the first part, so define the right target audience, will be something you're doing for other services as well. Because you will use like firmographics, so industry, size, location, etc. And then you will also dive deeper and choose appropriate people within those companies. And the toughest part in this step is to actually be able to define the segment, not too wide and not too narrow, just to find a group that has similar problems, similar situations, so that you can craft the appropriate sequence. And here, the creativity skills and the copywriting skills are key, but it's also pretty simple to learn how to write campaigns. And this is where we help as well, where our strategic consultants work with our partners on daily basis to optimize the target audience, to optimize the sequences. So we're always there for the partners, and we believe that like a constant optimization, constant cooperation simply helps both partners and our customers. And so now, like in general, our company has one simple goal. So we don't want like your customers or any people to send emails like this, because I'm guess you probably received an email like that sometime in the past, which is super long. It tells a lot about their services, nothing about your perspective, and such emails will never convert. So the goal of this webinar and the goal of every action we take when it comes to our strategy consultants and our sharing our best practices and workshops is to enable people to come up with something better. And in terms of that, to come up with something better, you need to nail targeting. So you need to actually focus on who are you reaching out to, make sure you have like good quality data. So this is buying one-off data list from someone in the internet probably is not the best idea, as their data is outdated, and it will only ruin your reputation, domain reputation. But in general, if you have a good quality data and you are able to segment the market based on the personas that your customer has or that you developed for them for other services, like you're in where you should be. And in order to do that, you can use all the possible signals and criteria that are on the market. So you can look for companies that are using certain tech, and then you would probably use build with. You can look for companies that just raised funding, and then Crunchbase is your source. You can look for companies that have less than 50 employees, and then LinkedIn Sales Navigator or Lucia is your choice. But also keep in mind that whatever you choose, you have to make sure that the target audience has similar situations. So that's why the pitch for the CEO and the marketing manager probably will be a little bit different. And of course, all of the tech is on the market. There's plenty of such stuff, of sales enablement tools right now, email automation tools. But Growbots, we're all in one. So we have all of those stuff inside our solution. Now, quickly, this is like a campaign we usually write we usually send from on our behalf to our potential customers. And I want to quickly break it down so that you can see how to actually prepare a good quality email. I don't want to be super detailed, as first of all, we don't have that much time. Second of all, I guess you have some experience. But long story short, 4 steps: subject line, opening line, email body, and CTA. So when it comes to subject line, basically, this is the first thing that your prospect will notice. It drives someone's attention, and even when you open your inbox on mobile phone or desktop, this is the first thing you see. So in order to keep it, good, like just imagine what kind of emails your prospects are getting and try to be different. Just try to stand out of the crowd and get more, creative, just to be seen. In order to do that, just personalize your subject line. Here are some evergreens that we recommend our users, and they guarantee basically over 50% reply open rate, unless you're not targeting like IT departments in huge enterprise companies, because these guys will never open an email. You need to make it short and relevant. So that's why those evergreen examples are basically bulletproof. Opening line, crucial part of an email, in my opinion, even more important than what's going to happen later on. Build the context for the whole email and actually describe the situation your prospect is in, so that they start reading and they feel like this guy who's emailing me knows my situation. He can help me. This is relevant to me. This is what you want to create. This is the kind of feeling you want to create with this opening line. And when it comes to hot tips, just personalize it. Describe the current situation, or use questions to encourage the prospect to start thinking. And this is our example. So as you can see, we personalize it using first name, position, and colleague. And colleague is something that is pretty difficult to automate, but it catches the attention very well. And we also, since this email is usually to like a small company, small software company, we ask not about creating a repeatable process or scalable process. What we want to do is just ask about reliable process of getting new customers, because this is the category that such people think in, and this is how they approach building their sales process. Just not to get like thousands of new customers this month, but get a few, grow a little bit, and this is why we chose these words. After opening line, email body. So you have to focus on the value, not on your solution. So never just do a feature dump and just mention who you are and what you do and what are your features. Try to focus on the perspective of your prospect. And in order to do that, you can describe your product and service in one sentence, which is pretty difficult, but it's doable, as you can see on the example below. Use prospect's perspective, so it's better to say that you will get something instead of will get you something. What I really recommend you to do is a keyword step. So if you just type in the Google keyword presentation, like a great material that helped me, especially because I'm not a native speaker, to get better at copywriting and to shorten my copy, whatever it is. If it's a presentation, if it's like a cold email or just a normal conversation, it just helped me a lot to improve that. And now, if you take a look at what we at the message that we have, first 2 lines is basically the description of our product. So we wanted to bring it in one place, what we are, what we do, and how we help. And the second part of this paragraph is the perspective of the customer with using the language they use. So we want to build a scalable process, which is crucial for some of our customers. And this is how you should think when it comes to email body. So actually try to find a way how you can fix something for them, help them avoid some risk, or help them increase something. This is like a popular method, and which is like pretty straightforward, especially if you did a good target segmentation. And call to action used in every email. So show a clear next step, lower the entry barrier so that your prospect can actually answer and they know what they should do as a next step. So I just at this stage I hate just let me know, etc. Ask for interest, don't ask for time, be precise, and use empathy to reduce the pressure. So if you just have like a clear empathy, you can add either way, good luck in 2022. People will just feel a little bit better, and there are higher chances that they will reply to you. When it comes to sequence, of course, there is more to that. There are follow-ups. So give prospects another chance to reply, add value to your first message, make it work, make it, you know how it is. Probably you wanted to answer an email plenty times, but you simply forgot to do it. And only the reminder from someone helped you to actually reply to their sequence and start the conversation. So don't forget to use 3-4 follow-ups to a sequence, use social proof. So use case studies, use testimonials, because this is what sells, especially when in cold outreach. This is how you can convince someone that that you can actually help them as you help someone similar to them. And important thing that works and is not that obvious is that short bumps, for example, any thoughts or just a kind reminder, they work really well. Well, I was actually pretty surprised when I saw how well they work, that they can give you 1% of warm reply rate. So like one person out of 100 will reply saying, yeah, I want to meet. And this is something great. So here, like general rules, I think they're clear. So I'm wondering if you have any questions regarding what I've already went through. If not, then of course, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, you know my questions, Philip, but a few people showed up late, so I'll leave it to you guys. Mike, we've been kind of focusing on your situation for the first few minutes, but I know Vlad, you and I have been chatting, so you're here to learn what to do for yourself to build your pipeline. So less about services, more about just building pipeline. But Dan, you jumped in late, and then feel free to just let us know what you're looking for. Are you looking to build new services, or are you looking to build pipeline for yourself with cold outreach?
A little bit of both. I'm Dan from Barrel. We're a D2C e-commerce agency. I'm our director of biz dev. Always experimenting with outbound. We have our kind of inbound practice. So we've built our own sequences in HubSpot that, varying levels of results. We've also engaged some third parties who actually just started campaigns, and they have their own strategies for sequences and the copy that they used. So this slide even specifically is resonating. So I'll probably continue to still do some on my own and finesse our sequences. We're probably still working with our partner, but any of these tips and tricks are helpful as we look to just generate more leads from outbound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for tips and tricks, then what I can recommend, what started working for me lately, for example, is that, and this is the kind of insight we shared with our partners regularly, and they're the first to know what tests we run recently. So for example, whenever you have a longer email, you should probably send it in the morning, so before 12 p.m. But if you have a short bump that I showed on the previous slide, so here, any thoughts or something like that, just send it in the afternoon. And you will see that a huge increase in reply rates, because this is when people, for example, check their mobile phones and they see any thoughts, let me check it out. So this is one trick of many that we share with our partners on a regular basis. And that can simply, one little change that can increase your reply rate.
Yeah. And Dan, I'm curious, so you can use HubSpot to send emails, of course. Using a marketing automation tool like HubSpot versus a cold outreach specific tool like Growbots, have you ever tried using a cold email platform?
Like I said, we did just start with a third-party company that I think what they do, it's not a platform that they have. It's, they're sending emails with a domain, and they have a list and they source it. HubSpot, we don't have the marketing tool. We do it as the sales tool. So we do it as the sequence. We enroll in the sequence. I send the first email, and then the rest just drips in. But have not used the platform probably specifically like this, but always down to experiment.
Yeah.
And,
go ahead. Sorry.
Dan, out of curiosity, how do you make sure your emails are delivered into the inbox? Because do you use any kind of warming solutions?
Good question. I know deliverability is should be top of mind, right, for stuff like this. So I know there's things you can do to the domain and the different, whatever those acronyms are, DKIT, whatever it is, to get that set up.
Yep.
And we work with our, head of IT from our end. Yeah, I mean, that's always top of mind, making sure they land in people's inboxes. I know some tools we tried, like Mailshake in the past, that can do a scrub of the names, which is valuable, I suppose, too. But we still see, bounces and open rates and click rates are like okay.
Okay. So in terms of deliverability, because this is like an issue that is pretty important to every agency and every person who's doing cold outreach, and of course there are some best practices that you've mentioned that, for example, reduce the bounce rate, which is important if you're if you're importing data. And for sure, you should use one of verifying data tools. So Bouncer, Never Bounce, Clear Out, something like that. They will help you out. But the right side of this slide actually shows you the deliverability tools that you can use. So, for example, lockups to check if your emails land in spam, or warm up inbox to warm up the inboxes, or sorry for shameless plugin, but you can use Growbots to have it all under one roof.
Right.
And the point in warming is that all of those tools that are right now on the market operate in a similar way. So you have a network of emails that send emails to each other, they reply to it, so that it increases their domain reputation. And actually, thanks to such tools that we have, or those two tools that you can see on the right, and regularly checking your inbox reputation, and following up some basic best practices that you already know, the risk of spam is really low. And other thing that a lot of agencies doing is that they set up subdomains. So, for example, if your domain is google.com, they would set up google.us or google.co, and this way they reduce the risk of harming the main domain to 0%. But in my opinion, if you follow those three things, so check the domain reputation, warm it up, and don't send too many bounce, don't send too many links, the risk is low. We haven't been to spam in 2 years, and we're sending a hell ton of emails.
Yeah, I like the idea, Dan. We did this too. We use an outside agency for a little while. The good thing there is they will be able to test and give you kind of the optimizations really quickly, instead of you and your team trying to figure out things and run into walls and whatever. But the downside that we ran into, at least, some of the things when you get caught up into a little comfortable of a system, right? An agency in general, this is you guys, me, this is everybody as an agency. We like to optimize quickly early, and then we sort of tell ourselves that everything is okay with the client, and you move on and you forget, and you have other clients you have to onboard. Same thing with the outsourced outbound agency. They do the same thing. They kill it for the first month, and then they get comfortable, and then they forget, and then whatever. Some do, some don't. But our experience, we've tried, I think, 3 so far. All of them, same thing. We with outbound, with managed outbound specifically, there aren't no risks. There are heavy risks on the brand side of things. Your brand is at stake with this, and I don't want to scare anybody from doing it, but you definitely need to be very cognizant about your brand. So the best possible things you can do, hyper segment, number 1, meaning don't build a list of 5,000, build a list of 50. And that list is, in your case, Dan, e-commerce e-commerce sites that run on top of Shopify Plus and spend more than $5,000 a month in PPC. And you can get all that data from different sources. Some of the stuff Growbots has as well. They include third-party data from a number of different sources. So you can look at their segments and get a good segment. And then it's using that segment to build the email as well. I saw you were doing this in this sector to this. We actually do very well. Here's a client of ours that's doing it right now. I'd love to show you what we did for them and make sure it's worth your time, give you a brief audit of whatever in return for taking your time to meet me. And that's it. Low links in the first one. I don't include links in my first email, period. That's both for inboxing, but also for just the fact that you include links, it's promotional. That's it, and you're asking them to do stuff where your first email should encourage a reply, and that's it. You want to get a conversation started. So if you include links, you're giving them the opportunity to tell you no, and do research, which will end in either they'll bounce out and they'll forget about you, or they'll maybe do the research and then have another reason not to reply. After you get that first email across, the next emails, yes, you can go a little deeper into explanation of why you reached out and some other stuff there. So Filip does have a number of good resources for you from Growbots domain, but we have some other resources from just general blogs that have really awesome managed outreach, cold outreach tips. But I do want to find out, Mike, this is more for you and anybody else, but I know, Mike, you're in the situation where if you want to provide the service for clients and build a new revenue stream off of cold outreach and out of cold outreach, what I wanted to ask Filip is what are you seeing inside of your agency network for managed services in this respect? Is it something that's coming up more and more? Are more agencies doing it? Are more companies relying on outsourced agencies to do this?
I would say there are two categories, meaning one, more and more companies are relying on agencies to do it because simply, even when I was doing outreach as an SDR, I usually got a response pretty often that I'm already working with an agency. And I can see it in my SDR team right now that this is a common objection we have. So we believe that more and more companies simply don't really have time to do it on their own. And they want to just trust experts and let experts do it for them. And the other part is that among our users, we see at least a few marketing agencies that started using Growbots and they wanted to build their own process. They succeeded, so now they deliver leads for themselves, and already their customers are asking, "Hey, can you do it for us?" And they are in our partner program, so we simply try to help them set everything up, and we try to help them set up their sales process and sales funnel for this particular service. So I would say in both of those categories, simply this method is being more and more popular.
Yep. Okay, very cool. And with the new world of cold outreach, GDPR, does anyone have any questions around GDPR or compliance? For many agencies, it's not a factor because we don't have the revenue to qualify for the penalties of GDPR. For many of us, we're just not reaching out to EU clients, but GDPR, Filip, let's just touch on that because I brought it up. What do you say when an agency partner asks you about GDPR?
So first of all, cold emailing to US, of course, is totally, that's not the problem at all. We're based in Europe, in Poland. So for example, we contact the US all the time. When it comes to GDPR in general, it's totally possible to email European companies. You just have to include a footer that you actually have their information, that you process their information. But what I would say is that I've sent tons of cold emails to Europe, and I've never had any problems with that. I've never really seen anyone responding you'll have problems with Low because you emailed me. I think that we are, if you email a appropriate person and with something that's relevant to them, they respect that, and probably they did it as well sometimes in the past, or the sales team is doing the same. So of course, you have to be aware, you have to follow the rules, so include the footer, etc. If someone asks you to remove from the list, just do it. But in general, that's not that big of a problem for agencies. But cold mailing is more popular in US, and more and more people, definitely more people in US are familiar with this concept than in Europe.
Yep. Yeah. And this obviously changes if you're managing it for clients versus just yourself. The agency's doing it for yourselves to build your own pipeline. Don't worry about it at all. You just don't, maybe you do, I don't know, but you probably don't make 25 million a year in revenue. If you do make over 25 million a year in gross revenue, yeah, you could potentially have some concerns there. But if you're managing it for clients, the main thing I would say this: if I were doing managed cold outreach using my client's domain through a third-party platform like Growbots, I would definitely stress the client to get the records in place, all of them, DKIM and DMARC, be very safe there. If it is a new domain, make sure you have that conversation with your clients that, is this a new domain or not? Are you giving me a crap brand new domain that's never had outreach done? Or are you giving me something that has been around for a while, has a good domain authority, or at least has some history with Gmail and Outlook in particular? Yes or no? If not, there's warm up domain services. Are any of these? Yes, warm up inbox. I see that. Perfect.
Yeah.
We just did one, and it's pretty straightforward. They basically just send emails from your domain to a bunch of email accounts that they have with Gmail and whatever. And it's enough to get your domain, at least to the point where Gmail sees it as something that's been opened before. It's been in use and other people have opened your email. That's the qualification there. Anything else, Philip, on
Yeah, other thing I would add, so even if you, from agency perspective, even if you start using the domain that was there for a couple of years, but you're setting up a new inbox, you still have to warm it up. So you still would like to use warm up inbox or warm bots or or Lemwarm or other solutions that are on the market, simply because if you start sending a high volume of emails, so let's say like 100 emails per day from an inbox, fresh inbox, it will land in spam immediately. So you need to warm it up, even if the domain was there for a couple of years.
Yes. And sending from Gmail versus Outlook hosted domains, hosted emails. We've tried to experiment with this, but do you have any experience with Google Apps versus Outlook, having the email hosted on either one of those?
When it comes to, let's say, where the email is hosted, there's basically no difference. Meaning, from our perspective and from we checked, like whether your email is hosted on Gmail or Outlook, it doesn't really make a difference in long term. What makes difference is to actually send emails to someone who is hosted on Gmail or Outlook, because then if someone is hosted on Outlook, Outlook spam filters are a little bit more rigorous than Gmail's, so you need to be aware of that. But also in basically any tool that enables you to find contact data, you're able to filter out Outlook and Gmail contacts. So if you see, for example, in clockups that you're falling into spam on Outlook, then you can get rid of such prospects for 2-3 weeks or maybe 1 month, and everything will be back to normal.
Yep. And a couple of hacks. I like hacks. If you do get into spam and you do start seeing your deliverability go down, check mail-checker. I'll get a domain for you, mail-checker.com. You can see what spam lists as well as what records you're missing. So you run that before you do any cold outreach. I like to check it every couple of weeks. But hypothetically, you're going into promotions, going into spam, you've gotten blocked a few times in a day. Go ahead and collect a list of your best friends, people that you trust, that you know, as well as your personal emails, and do an email blast to all of those people. Let them know ahead of time that go in and pull me out of your spam folder, pull me out of promotions, put me in your inbox. If enough people do that in one day at a certain time over one campaign, that will tell Gmail or Outlook that this email is not actually spam. That works. It takes about 20 or so emails. Another thing, if you do get the slap from Gmail, specifically Google Apps, where they tell you, we see that you're up to something, stop it, and we're gonna, put you in the corner for a little while. Pay the next month of your Google Apps account ahead of time, and you can go into your billing and you can pay up front. Pay for the next year if you know you're going to use that that domain for a while. That will get you out of Gmail jail if you pay ahead of time. And then there's another one with Outlook that I did where I bought a new domain for Outlook and I wanted to start sending pretty quickly. And they usually have this 3-month period, and then it takes a little while to warm up. And if you get on with their technical support and you explain that you have a year's worth of an account and you need to speed things up, there's a toggle in their settings on Outlook admin where they can just hit the toggle and get you immediately into sending. And you just have to talk to the right tech support. And what's cool about Microsoft is their tech support are partners, are channel partners of theirs. So all you have to do is talk to them like person to person and say, listen, like I'm trying to start this campaign and I'm in your waiting period. And they'll just go in and they'll say, oh, don't worry, I'll get you out of that. And they flip the switch for you. So those are the 3 things I like, I've used recently. That's been in the last year. So I think they still work. Anything on your side, Philip? Any fun sort of cold outreach hacks?
So when it comes to cold outreach and deliverability, so what you said, emailing your friends, making them reply, that helps a lot. Not only, getting you out of spam, but reply just a normal message like, yes, I'm interested. It will help you a lot. Also, when it comes to, cold emails, whenever you would be doing cold emails, you will get from time to time a message that someone is out of office for like half a year or they no longer work there. And usually in this message, you see that they point another person that you should reach out to. Just do it. Just do it. Personalize it, meaning like, hey, I tried to reach John Smith, but I see he's no longer working for Google, and I was redirected to you. Like the reply rates are amazing, usually above 60-70%, because these people see like subject line forwarded from John Smith. And they open the email and they reply. So I really neglected it for like 2 years. And once I started doing that, I know it works perfectly. So this is another small thing that a lot of people just don't use in their everyday, daily routine.
Awesome. I think this is important with the last few minutes. Chat questions while I'm talking, if you do have them, and I'll make sure to answer those as well. And then I put Philip's email too, if you have to jump and you want to email Philip questions. But if you want to start managing cold outreach for your clients, or do it yourself, whatever. But let's talk about the client stuff real quick, because that's what this is supposed to be about. So there's a couple different MVP versions of this, right? So what I like to tell my agencies is first refer your client to Growbots or whatever platform that you like and say, sign up here, guys. Give me an account access. We'll co-manage it together. I'll set you up. I'll tell you best practices. Let your clients sort of feel like you're not trying to push this and manage this completely and have a bunch of like, what is going on type questions, because there's a lot of concerns when clients give over fully managed cold outreach services. So the first step would be get them to sign up on their own, get them to set up whatever they can, onboard, learn, have a call with Philip and Philip's CS team, then come back to you for strategy at first. So have a few clients where you're sort of co-managing and you're doing more strategy. Second step is say, okay, well, let me do this. I will take the list building and the modification side. I'll create those lists. I'll refine them. I'll verify them. I'll get you back the really awesome data inside Growbots. Yes, but also, we'll pull in some data from other places, or we'll take the Growbots data and we'll just create those segments for you. That's step 2. Step 3 is to say, okay, well, I would like to show you the power of a multi-channel approach where we're taking the data from whatever we created with you, and my team is going out and logging in through your LinkedIn or using another automation tool to do LinkedIn touch point to get that name of who you should be in contact with. And the really good strategy here is, as an agency, so your client's still doing the co-management inside of the cold outreach tool like Growbots. What you're doing is you're purposefully connecting with and asking the wrong person at that agency, the very wrong person, or sorry, at that target client. So it's a whatever it is. So you purposefully LinkedIn connect and add note the absolute wrong person and ask them, hey, you know what? I saw you worked at this company, the first person that I connected with. Do you mind telling me who the right person is? I'm lost, and this is like the the administrator of something or the CS rep, you know it's not the person that you're supposed to contact, but they're the person that would be most most shocked that you reached out and just like wanting to help, right? CS works, product team, sure. Purposefully do that. Then for your clients, take the list of all those names now, and you say, now I have specific names of people, and I have the name of the person that told me to reach out, and build a custom list of who told you to reach out and what is the name, and give that to your clients. That is gold, because now what they can do is manually compose inside Growbots. You still want to use a cold email platform, and I'll mention why in a sec, but they're able to take your list, still feel ownership of it, and say, okay, well, I'm going to compose an email, and it's going to say this person's name in the subject line, told me to reach out. In the body, again, repeat, this person told me that you were the best person to contact. That campaign will get grossly higher reply rates than if you just reached out to someone you thought was the right point of contact. And then the point of why a cold email platform, these platforms are purpose built for cold email. They have checks and balances. One of the most important being, do not send an email to somebody that's already in another campaign. That is a big one. And also limitations and settings for how many people the system is allowed to send within one organization. That is a big one too. Growbots has some other protection items in the product itself that prevent this. The other thing is sending through Gmail and accessing Gmail as that SMTP provider, as your ESP, versus when you're using a marketing automation tool like SendGrid or MailChimp or whatever. They sit on top of Mailgun, they sit on top of these third parties. And if they catch you doing any sort of cold outreach, they'll ban you from using their marketing automation tool, period. So purpose-built tools like Growbots are huge for it.
That's one thing. And second thing that, why is it worth to use tools that are dedicated to cold outreach is that, not only what Alex mentioned, so you can actually select people to come to sales to a campaign and make sure that all the data is there. But also, all of those companies work on their algorithms, sending algorithms, so that it actually works with cold mailing, because MailChimp or SendGrid or other solutions for email marketing have totally different needs than what we have to do and what we have to deal with. So if you try to send, like cold emails with MailChimp, first of all, it won't happen, it won't work. But second of all, like the deliverability will be much, much lower. So every basically outreach automation tool or cold email automation tool has better, like sending algorithms which are adjusted to this particular use case.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. We are out of time. I'm sure lots of you have to jump. Mike, any final questions you want to squeeze in right now, or you just want to maybe email any questions that you have, anyone else as well? Otherwise we got to go.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll get in front of Filip's inbox.
Awesome, buddy.
We can talk later.
Yeah, congrats and happy new year. And
yeah, you too.
Thanks for coming, man. Talk soon.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.